Hey guys, it's Jouelzy and it's time for another day of Veda, and I'm finally recording a video before 6 o'clock. I didn't work out today, not yet. I'm gonna record this video, edit this video, and then go run. Remember, you can still support Smart Brown Girl by shopping Smart Brown Girl crop tops and shirts and onesies and dad hats and baseball caps are still available. I'm working on some special projects for the college Smart Brown Girls. Hopefully we can roll those out soon. And I am still attempting to raise $5,000 to launch my own podcast. $5K. It's simply going to go pay for legal fees because this is expensive. Thus far, I believe we've raised about close to $900. Thanks for supporting. So today we are talking about emotional maturity, something I have talked about before on a video I did about growing in your emotional maturity, working on your vulnerability, and then helping you to avoid the eponymous fuckboys. Packaging advice for the discussion of intimate relationships is always the easiest entryway. But emotional maturity is more complex and nuanced than just how it relates to your dating life. What is emotional maturity? Emotional maturity is taking the time to develop your self-awareness and shed your emotional insecurities. Vulnerability typically is the biggest tenet of emotional maturity and the hardest one to kind of push through and grow through and find a comforting balance within. A lot of these insecurities will center around your intimate relationships, but they also highly impact your sense of self, your goals, your purpose, your career, your family, and friend relationships. I mean, basically, it impacts your whole life, though. You get it? You got it? Think about it. How do you feel when entering a room full of educated Black women? How do you react? What sort of insecurities might that drum up? On the flip side, how do you feel walking into a room full of economically poor Black women? How would your interactions be with them? What kind of energy might you give off? How would you shift your persona? And also, what insecurities might that strike up? Because emotional maturity plays a role in both those settings. For me, it was after I joined a sorority, walking into an alumni meeting and realizing how many insecurities drummed up when I walked into a room full of educated and ambitious Black women. I was projecting a lot of my own insecurities onto these other women, and it was preventing me or causing a mental block in how I proceeded in entering into relationships, whether it was just acquaintances or actual friendships with other adult women. I was articulating like no one understood me. I would play the background because I thought I just didn't have what it took, or that someone was gonna come at me or think less than of me. I had to realize that most of my issues in befriending other women were self-manifested. As women, a lot of us do this, and I've spoken about this in several other topics about women being petty and competitive video, and then the ideology behind the strong Black woman stereotype. But we live in a patriarchal society, and a lot of the rhetoric around women is oftentimes demeaning. A lot of us are carrying around this same patriarchal chip on our shoulder, and this is how we walk into situations where we are confronting other women. But what happens when one woman focuses on shedding these insecurities that uphold these negative ideals that we as women entertain each other with? The honest truth is that loneliness is going to creep up. You will realize how much of a society we are not focused on encouraging self-awareness in individuals. Aside from understanding that, I'm visually self-aware of how I look. Like, am I slaying? Is my eyebrows? Is my edges? But in all honesty, working on your emotional maturity will show how much the general population is just emotionally immature. And in practice, that will mean that you have a smaller social circle in which you can entertain people on a more intimate or closer friendship level. It sounds bad, but it's absolutely not. For most, it's human nature. We hit 27, 28, we start to get more stuck in our ways, a lot more rigid with what type of people we will want to associate with. And there's a reason why no new friends became a thing. Emotional maturity, it's not that you're snubbing people, it's that you're investing time in more quality relationships, that you understand yourself enough and you understand how different relationships play a different function in your life, and everyone doesn't deserve to have the expectations of friendship levied on them, in both that people might not live up to the standard, but you also understand that your standard might be unfair to put on somebody who you just met. Social acquaintances serve a fulfilling role in our lives, with the potential to inspire others to invest in their emotional maturity and grow with you, without you having to dictate to them what they need to do better. Loneliness is the first hard function of emotional maturity to get over, but stick with it and you will see not only your close friendships kind of blossom in that maturity with you and become more fulfilling and more purposeful, but you'll also notice new friends kind of come about organically and it be a better quality relationship. But then there is another lull. When do we or you or I catch a break? We work to do better, we inspire others to do better, but where is that aha moment, that peaceful happiness that allows you to hit that stride into the carefree black girl world? Typically, the question of when can you catch a break arises when something bad happens. When you have hit a stride in putting in that work, you're growing your emotional maturity, you have your nose down to the ground and you are hustling hard, and then someone from behind throws a brick at your head and just completely they startle you, and everything becomes a question of distrust as you forget how far you have actually come. This is something myself and quite a few of my friends are going through. I actually spent my Sunday like 6-7 hours on the phone with my homegirls, and we were each kind of working through this train of thought, right? That we all live in this world where the outside sees us as successful, and on some levels, eternally, we do understand that we have reached success, but it doesn't look or feel like how we each define success on our own. And then something kind of comes in and it's a loss, it's getting reprimanded at work, it's, maybe going through what I went through with physical loss, and then people maliciously coming at you. It kind of magnifies the internal struggles that we've been quietly dealing with, and it throws you off kilter and sets off a depression that's been lingering. The conundrum of being upset that you are upset starts to set in. That we have this idea that working hard and working on ourselves is like a kind of mantra of constantly having honestly vulnerable, positive things about, I can work this out, I understand who I am, it's all gonna work out. And then you hit that negative mark and you just want to sit down and cry. There is success in being upset. And so I always try to encourage people that I know to not spend too much time being upset or frustrated that they are upset, because you have to see the success in that. And I know it's hard because I am the person that wants to throw that pity party. I really don't like when I'm talking to somebody else about a negative thing that I'm going through and they're like, oh, you're gonna be okay. That dismissive nature I just don't really care for. But I'm not saying to dismiss it. I am saying to give yourself that moment to be upset. If you need to cry, you need to take a nap, you need to have a pity party with some friends, you need to write it, journal it out, do what you need to do and give yourself that moment. Emote the full breadth of your emotions, because we are not always happy, super confident people. That's unfair to the essence of our humanness, right? So if you have to have that moment to cry and let it out, give yourself that moment. Make sure that you are surrounding yourself with people that will support you even in that moment. And then, throw your pity party, keep it cute, don't let it go on too long, and then sweep it up, clean it up, and stand up and keep it moving. So many people are unable to articulate any form of emotion. So if you can, even in your upsetness, articulate why you're upset, what triggered your upsetness, even if you don't know exactly how you're going to move forward from that moment, but that beforehand you are upset because you were moving forward in this direction and you can articulate that, that is a success that so many other people have not reached. That you can articulate a sense of self and a sense of identity, and there is strength to be found even in that weak moment. When I come Ayana need to give me her job, yo. When did I become that chick? It is absolutely hard to keep pushing forward, but patience is definitely necessary. It has to be worked on, something I myself am currently working on as I've been overstepping it a lot. But I am committed to staying on track on this journey because I can see my growth, both in how productive and how I love my friends. Like, they really are awesome, and the strength that our relationships have grown in. But just realizing how not only they support me, but how they're strengthened my ability to support each of them. Yes, but also in the short, in wasting less time in my dating life, in entertaining more quality people. And that just helps you to waste less time with people who aren't worth your time, and also to not burn bridges. And it just manifests itself in so many ways that sometimes it's hard to see it, because you also are realizing how many people just ain't on your level, though. I mean, I'm not trying to have ego, but I'm saying a great feeling, and I am committed to this journey, and I know, and I hope my smart brown girls are too. All right, see you tomorrow. Deuces. For $2 to $5 or more, you can support Smart Brown Girl and help to launch the Smart Brown Girl podcast, tour, scholarship fund, and flourishing community of awesome Smart Brown girls. Visit patreon.com/Jouelzy and become a Smart Brown Girl patron today.